Hello everybody, you're welcome back to Law Hero. My name is Jen, or you can call me Law Hero, but you're a hero too because you're here. Anyway, today I want to talk to you guys about my new trainee solicitor guides and what the hell they even are. So I came up with this idea when people were asking me to send them notes before they went through different, say, rotations in a law firm. So normally you'll do like litigation, corporate finance, property, and then you'll do like a niche seat, which may be like environmental, IPIT, competition law, construction law, one of those. That's in a big law firm. Obviously then, like in the smaller law firms, you will still have banking, litigation, corporate property, and then when you get to general practice, all that stuff is lumped in together. That being said, you still need some core knowledge, I believe, if you want to stand out. A lot of the time you're thrown into the deep end and you're Googling on the job, you're probably getting the wrong answers, and you don't have time to absorb what part you were playing in the overall transaction. And what I mean by that is you're told to do a niche or a small query within a larger transaction, but you've no idea where your bit slots in. So that's where I come in to help. So I have drafted roughly 8 trainee guides. You don't need to get them all. Just get the one that suits you and the career that you're aiming for. Okay, so we'll say, for example, banking. Okay, in my banking ebook, a lot of people will come across banking type transactions when they do a traineeship. If you're in a big law firm, it'll obviously be big syndicated, and that means multiple lenders, banking deals. But even if you're in a small law firm, you will have, you know, some commercial lending deals with some of the banks here in Ireland, or it could be just commercial lenders, which is not a regulated activity in Ireland. So a lot of private firms are lending, and there's also person to person or peer to peer lending, all that kind of stuff. All of that would come within banking. And my finance book as well, which is separate. So I have a finance and a banking book, and the finance book doesn't talk about banking because banking is a whole subject within itself. And by the way, any of these ebooks will work as well for PPC2 if you are sitting those exams. So yeah, my banking ebook basically, if I just look at it here, I go through things like customer relationship, loan agreements, how banks minimize risk, taking security, legal opinions, aircraft and shipping finance, project finance, restructuring and refinancing, banking regulation and insolvency for borrowers, that kind of a thing. As I already alluded to, I have a finance law, so this is more for people who are doing seats in debt capital markets, any type of investment or advisory, investment firm or advisory type seat where financial regulation is invoked. So for example, I have some so I talk about corporate loans, trading of corporate loans. This is normally for people who are involved in loan sales. Debt securities, what are they? Debt securities regulation in Ireland. Derivatives, which is something I do day to day. Funds, if you're sitting a fund seat, this will be handy for you. Asset-backed finance, that's like securitization, that kind of stuff. Stock lending, which is your GMRA, and fintech, which I think is going to be a massive area coming down the line for many finance and banking departments. So that is an area you can't really avoid. And in there, I think I have a bit about like e-money and payment services. The next one, now this is my Bible, my own personal Bible, which I've curated over the last few years, because even though I'm a finance lawyer, I've been moving more into commercial contracts because obviously I'm in-house. Commercial contracts is our bread and butter, and this is my baby. So I personally think this is the most valuable thing I've ever drafted, and I refer to it often. So I talk about how to draft terms and conditions, which is basically everything a lawyer does, and then the statutory terms which influence terms and conditions, so that's like your consumer law stuff. But there's also a lot more, like there's like alternative dispute resolution, a lot of if you're selling online, there's a new omnibus directive coming in, which is going to be very important for online trading. Service agreements, how to draft those. Outsourcing agreements, which are in a regulated industry, are very important. Distribution and agency, competition law, IP/IT law, data protection is literally like a full chapter on GDPR. E-commerce, how to deal with consultants, how to draft power of attorney, franchise agreements, technology contracts, so software licensing, and online business, how to navigate that. I love that particular book. The next one I have then is if you're about to set a corporate seat, it's corporate transactions and how they work. Now, I wish I had had this before I did my corporate seat, because I did not know what an SPA was. I did not know, I didn't understand, we'll say, an escrow agreement or a tax deed or any of those things. I had never heard of those before my corporate seat, and they're very difficult to find information online. It's fine if you Google, we'll say, tax deed, but you don't understand in what context the tax deed is required, like at what part of the transaction, an M&A transaction, the tax deed comes into. So all of this stuff is very, very useful if you basically want to have the upper hand as a trainee. So in that particular ebook, I look at what corporate transactions are, because there are different variations of them. You might have a leverage buyout, you might have a reorganization, intergroup reorganization, you might have a demerger, which is a different thing. One on insolvency. So I thought there was a need to draft an ebook around insolvency, because insolvency permeates every area of your traineeship. It comes into finance, it comes into litigation, it comes into corporate. Everywhere you need to know what insolvency rules apply in Ireland. And in that ebook, which I also think is very, very useful for anyone who's on the PPC2 as well, is what is insolvency. I look at personal insolvency, cross-border insolvency, receivership, examinership, liquidation, and issues around liquidation, a bit like fraudulent preferences and directors being restricted. And finally, the other one is professional conduct. Now, this comes up quite a lot in PPC2, but I would urge trainees to understand professional conduct before they go on the traineeship, because you will be, reviewed as you go through the traineeship, and the more you understand about the professional conduct of a solicitor and that kind of ethical stuff, that will make you look very, very good. So that is basically it. I will link where these are available on my website, but you'll see it very clearly. It's Trainee Solicitor Guides. I hope to make more. Basically, these were the ones people suggested they needed, so like as in it was on a needs basis. Yeah, they took me very long to write, I think maybe a year and a half to write them all, and I kind of just tipped away at them. But again, I learned an awful lot from writing them myself, and for me, especially commercial contracts was a great recap, and they're a great resource to have because you can just literally control and find. Like for example, the other day I was talking to somebody about I think it was conflict of interest, and it was just very, very quick to type in that term and find it. So I do use my own notes. I don't trust the internet. I also don't have time for the internet. So this is just a quick way of navigating through your traineeship. If you have any questions, please email me at info@lawhero.eu. Continue to follow along on Instagram at lawheroirl, and please like and subscribe for more. I'll be making videos on all of my ebooks anyway, so you can get some more info. But yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for watching towards the end. Bye.